And greetings, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. Want to remind everybody, hit that like, share, and subscribe button for us. There's a PayPal link down there for anybody that wants to share some love, and always appreciated. And then the StreamYard link is there for anybody that wants to join the panel. We've got John and Rebel Studio with us tonight. How you doing, guys? Hello?
Hello? A battle of who's going to come up first. Yeah, hey, what's going on?
Well, we're going to go over some more of those Fruit Loop Insanities again tonight. Oops, we lost John. He must not have his settings right or something there.
Yesterday, I was just dropped out of your system, or your deal one time. So.
Yeah, sometimes if you've got a bad signal. You got something else on in the background, brother, and it's not allowing me to mute your mic. Oh, yep, there he went too. All right, well, we'll see if they come back. In the meantime, if you guys remember, I've done a couple reviews on the situation over there with where is it? There it is. Tiffany Henyard as the mayor of Dalton, Illinois, and the supervisor of Thornton Township. And so we're going to take a look. We're going to take a look at, it says new developments in Dalton criminal investigation. And so I wanted to, it's a short video, 8 minutes long, almost 9. So we're going to review this one first and go over some details in regards to some of those reviews and the charges being brought and how this is going down. Let me check. There's John. How you doing, John? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here, Keith.
Okay, you weren't muted. Okay. All right. So, if you're familiar with Tiffany Henyard of Dalton, Illinois, she's the mayor over there in Dalton, as well as a supervisor for Thornton Township, which consists of several small communities in that same area. And as you remember, she did a lot of advertising and things like that, as well as using the taxpayers' funds for various different things, and then not being accountable for them, not bringing forth receipts, showing records that she spent an exorbitant amount of money for a vehicle, hired on actual criminal thugs as security enforcement. One of the other trustees on the council for Dalton has gone through bankruptcy fraud. He's being put up for bankruptcy fraud. And I'm sure there are going to be other charges coming out of that, as well as other charges that are going to come out of this for Tiffany as it relates to one of the first reviews we did. There was an issue about a tow truck company. There's issues about a barber shop and licensing. There's issues about a food pantry. All kinds of things that are going to be brought down against Tiffany Henyard, and misappropriation of those funds and misappropriation of her authority in denying certain business permits and licenses to these various different peoples because of a claim on the property. For instance, the guy that was denied the permit to do a barbershop went forth buying the property with that intent. The city allowed it and everything. And then when he went to get the permit, they denied him the permit and said they had an interest in the property. Then why did you allow him to buy it in the first place? This is underhanded, bad faith dealings to acquire property and put other people in bad positions so they can't do anything about it. This is an abuse of power and discretion outside of their jurisdiction and judicial limitations.
NBC5 News has confirmed another subpoena was delivered at Village Hall earlier this week, requesting specific information about Mayor Tiffany Henyard and other key figures in her administration. Our Regina Waldrop's been on this story from the beginning. She takes a deeper look tonight at the records that federal authorities are requesting and what's next.
A source close to the investigation provided NBC5 with this copy of the latest.
And what I want to point out here is the process they have to go through here explains that these people are not communicating with the federal government, even in their own rights of keeping their own records. See, they're supposed to provide those records automatically as far as a tax thing so that the tax rates can be applied appropriately, whether they're exempt or not. There's supposed to be a diplomatic channel of notice of all the obligations of or other securities of the United States when it comes to public and private debts, as we spoke of earlier with the HGR 192. And those are all obligations of the United States, so they're supposed to have a communication. Here, when the FBI has to come in and request those records, it's saying that they don't have those records, which should be a just like a prepayment. It should be a prerequisite, which I believe they already have on the books, and they're not doing that. So again, a failure of the public officials to do their job in the begin with, while professing, I'm just doing my job.
Is that why they use assessors, Keith, versus the actual record?
Absolutely. They've got to assess, and this is the same thing with the forensic accountings. They have to go through that document and make sure that those who put that document out put it out in good faith by using the proper terms and stuff. Now, if they find out they were using the wrong terms, they can go back to that person and say, well, why'd you do this? In that answer, this is why we ask them, what's the definition of a dollar? These people really don't know what they're putting in these documents. So can you hold them liable? No, you have to forgive them, for they knew not what they did. That's the whole system, is a forgiveness system. Everybody believes it's a debt system.
Court order. It asked for a variety of financial reports like budgets, accounting records, and receipts for Mayor Tiffany Henyard, Village Administrator Keith Freeman, and Trustee Andrew Holmes, as well as several other companies and individuals.
And notice it says Dalton Records subpoenaed. Again, they're not attacking her or her office. They're not attacking her title or her office. They're going to the record first. Okay? In that record, they're going to find out the misappropriations that she obviously knew about or should have known about in good faith of taking that oath of office, saying that she knew and understood the laws of the Constitution of which she took that oath. Those are constitutional issues. So their subpoena in the record, which is a quo warranto. That's what the warrant is. They're checking the information to make sure that it's warranted. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was raised a Catholic, and my elders would tell me that before I was born, the Lord's Prayer was, forgive us for our debts, not sin.
Yep. So if you live in a system of debt and somebody's opposing a debt in an action, then what should the reaction be? Forgiveness. Go ahead, Rebel. Evidently, he's not there now. Yeah, you'll have to go out and come back in again. There's something wrong with your mic settings, brother.
Plus, any records related to Henyard's charitable organizations.
So the subpoena and then record first. So it's the opportunity or the offer to give us the records in lieu of your personal appearance. That's what a quo warranto is. So she's being subjected to the opportunity. It's like I said, it's an offer. They're still in contract. It's an arbitration. So they're offering her in this arbitrary event, because there's discrepancies being screamed out about. They're going to check the record to see if those discrepancies are true and accurate. So there's a let us have the records in lieu of a personal appearance in court. Because if you don't, then we can only go by the discrepancies that are being screamed about. We'll put you to a trial before your peers of 12 jurors, and those are the very people that are screaming that you're guilty already. It's not looking good for Tiffany, or others for that matter.
Isn't all court arbitration, I mean, at the arbitration stage of insurance, Keith?
Yep. And that's why we go to the American Arbitration Association if we really have an issue that we want to deal with in those courts, because it is an arbitration. But in doing so, we have to admit that we are one of the contracting parties, and that we're subject to arbitration. If we're a third-party beneficiary, then we go to the trust law, and in trust law, equity imputes an intent to fulfill an obligation. Now, if I haven't taken an oath to that Constitution and my loyalty remains with my Father which art in heaven, that is my obligation. Your obligation is obviously to that Constitution, wherein you gave up the loyalty to the Father which art in heaven to that Constitution, even though you swore it under God. You gave up that loyalty. This is Romans 13, 1 through 8. And you will be judged, not by me. I'm going to judge the words. I'm going to condemn the words. That's why I go to the record just like these guys. Your words say you're lying. And that's what I hate. I don't hate you. I hate the things we say and do to each other. And that's what I condemn.
The subpoena also requests all travel records paid for by the municipality, including a trip taken to Las Vegas in May of last year. On that trip, both the mayor's former assistant and a Dalton police officer.
In order to pay for those municipal expenses, they have to incorporate bonds. These are those municipal bonds, short-term bonds. Where are those bonds? Whose name are those bonds in? This is why she sits there and says, pay me my taxes, and then won't show your receipts. That's not good faith.
They've both filed a civil lawsuit accusing Holmes of assault and battery and Henyard of retaliation. Regarding the lawsuit, the mayor and Holmes both declined to comment. The first two grand jury subpoenas were served April.
When it comes to that assault, I assure you there's probably going to be some sexual assault charges coming out in this investigation as well. These people are heathen hedonistics, and they love those behind the closed door sex games. While on the job and intercoursing with each other in private, and there's all kinds of shit that's going to come out, and I'm pretty sure sexual assault is going to be one of those, or sexual harassment. It's a norm.
More John Bobbitt.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Rebel Studios is back. Try again, brother.
Can you hear me?
We
Hello?
hear you, but you're broken up again. Try again.
Damn it.
Yeah, you've got another device in the background that is open up. You have to close that other device in the background, otherwise we get a total reverb, and it's breaking up your actual communication yourself. So I don't know if you're out away from a general community and that other. Say again.
That better?
Much better. Yeah, because when you've got that other
Okay.
device on, what it's doing is it's distracting the signal. So it's confusing this device that you're actually on. Great job. So you had something to say
it
earlier?
helps me to hear. It helps me to hear when I'm having it connected to my stereo. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it's messed up. But the states and their codes that United States of America is a corporation. So we are under a corporation. We're not under government. We're not in the country.
Right. Let me read this comment you left in the chat earlier, because you're spot on there. It says there is no government but a corporation. The government we have is a military government, which is a corporate entity. That's who sponsors the 50 states of the Union. Okay, that sponsor is the one that funds the 50 states of the Union. That's why they hold the obligations and other securities of the United States. And that corporation is only responsible for Washington, D.C. and its paperwork that extends beyond Washington, D.C. That's all it is. It's the record. That is of the US of A Inc. America is under their control through your registration, where you give them control. And again, that's that birth registration where there's a presumption laid on the record that you're a legal entity now as a representative of the United States and not an American.
But
Absolutely
when you register to vote, you're turning yourself and America over to them. And then
Correct.
that's when you lose all control of being in a country, because like I said in another video, when you look up what country do you live in, America and Washington, D.C. does not exist as a country. So only the United States
Correct.
of America Incorporated as a corporation is listed as a country, but it's not really a country. So we're not in a country. We're ruled over and controlled by a corporation.
Right, and at the UN, they even know it. They put it down. They don't use the ink on it, but it's the title, and it's the all uppercase letters, United States of America, or upper and lowercase, United States of America, but they don't put that ink on there. United States of America is merely just the national representation of United States of America, Inc. on its local territory, and yet nobody understands that it is United States of America, Inc., as that 28 U.S.C. 3002 explains, that its corporate chartered representative, United States, is just that entity.
Yep, it's a federal corporation or an agency, department, commission, board, or other entity of the United States. That's, the rest of it.
Right. Other entity of the United States is that United States citizen known as a United States business as a legal fiction with a personal representative. And that's it. That personal representative is the one that's being held as surety in all cases, because nobody's clarified the fact that they are not the personal representative, but in fact the private authority for use of a personal representation. It's a usufruct.
Well, I figured it out finally when I told the sheriff, I do not work for you. And the sheriff said, yes, you do. So when you're registered, so you work for them. I'm not registered.
And you're having mic issues that you're breaking up real bad again. I don't know if you got to unplug and replug that mic in or what it is, but I urge you, got to do something. It's tearing us up here. Okay, let's get back to this.
10th, asking for personnel and disciplinary files for nearly 30 people. The subpoenas also asked
for 30 people. That goes beyond, like I said, goes beyond Tiffany Henyard herself and her board of trustees, but into the people that she's hiring and using against the community.
Ask for documents related to Keith Freeman. The village administrator recently indicted on charges of bankruptcy fraud. His attorney told us he has no plans to step down. A few days ago, the law firm representing the village and at least 9 the village.
And I want to go back to this, and I want to point out, see up here it says Keith Freeman, and then they've got his social security number, right? And then they've got Keith Freeman here, LLC. It's all uppercase. That's the EIN. Okay. Then they've got Freeman Ventures Ltd. Another EIN. See, they're different EINs. So there are different entities under this one being, and this is what we're talking about. When they start using different styles of grammar, they're talking about different persons, different characters in different jurisdictions. The LLC has a different jurisdiction than the Freeman Ventures Limited. Okay? And they have different capacities in the Keith Freeman using the social security number.
Ask for documents related to Keith Freeman. the village administrator recently indicted on charges of bankruptcy fraud. His attorney told us he has no plans to step down. A few days ago, the law firm representing the village in at least 19 lawsuits in Cook County and federal court said it's planning to withdraw from the cases May 8th.
Has no plans on stepping down, but goodness gracious, all these charges coming out, and specifically if he gets charged and found guilty of bankruptcy fraud, do you think the members of the community are going to have much faith left in him? He probably ain't going to last. Doesn't matter whether he wants to step down or not. They'll get rid of him. These people are not stupid. They see somebody in their community leadership that's convicted of bankruptcy fraud. Yeah, let's go ahead and keep them on, huh? Makes good sense, huh? Even a seventh grader would know better than that. Come on.
Due to lack of payment, NBC5 has obtained a copy of the letter sent to the village by the Delgado law firm of Berwyn. 4 Dalton trustees recently appointed Lori Lightfoot, Chicago's former mayor and a former federal prosecutor, as a special investigator.
A CRM shouldn't weigh your budget down. It should lift your team.
And much like the thing we spoke of in the previous video, what is a dollar? And the guy explained where he went to the next county over and made his statements and stuff. This is obversely the same thing. I don't believe if you're going to try to have a city council member removed from their job or a judge removed from the bench, that you should do so by using internal members to do so. You should go to another county, or if you have a state representative that you need to be removed, some kind of state worker, employee, or somebody, you go to the next state and file a claim in those states. This is asserting your ability, your authority, and your knowledge of knowing how the law works, that the law is uniform throughout all jurisdictions, and that there is an equal protection of the laws among the states.
The next village board meeting.
What do you think of definition of United States under 26 U.S.C. 7701 9? It says that.
Well, let's take a look at it.
Yeah.
Because that's one of my favorite sections, particularly subsection H. And as we look at number 9, it says United States, when used in a geographical sense, includes only the states in the District of Columbia. Notice the District of Columbia is a corporate entity. It has no statehood. The states, as it's capitalized, refer to the United States. Look at this, the term United States. Click on it. It's got a definition. It's going to come right back to this one. 26 U.S.C. 7701A9. Okay? States. 26 U.S.C. 7701A10. So the very next one. The term state shall be construed to include the District of Columbia. So in effect, we are only talking about, we are only talking about the term United States. When used in a geographical sense, includes only the District of Columbia. Because as we look at the definition state, it says, shall be construed to include the District of Columbia. So it's only speaking about the District of Columbia, folks. Understand the twist in the language. They're showing you a definition of United States here and a definition of states here, and using the two in one sentence that says when used in a geographical sense includes only the states and the District of Columbia, as if though they are two separate things. No, states include or shall be construed to include the District of Columbia. So it's, again, merely talking about the paperwork, nothing else. So let's take a look at the one here, 8. The term shareholder includes a member in an association, joint stock company, or insurance company. Is the United States a insurance company? I mean, all of its citizens are sureties, so they are insured. That's an insurance company. Basic definition. So let's go back to it.
Meeting set for Monday at 6:30. Regina Waldrop, NBC5 News.
Thanks, Regina.
And again, those definitions there are exactly what the FBI is looking for, the record. That's it. But it again extends beyond Washington, D.C. into those states that include Washington, D.C. because they ceded their jurisdiction to Washington, D.C., which is where the United States is located.
Let's talk about the corruption.
They effectively ceded their jurisdiction to a record and then are not giving that record to the United States, so the FBI has to come in and request it. And if they don't want to give it, they're going to take them to court.
Claims in South Suburban.
And when they look through that record and they find misappropriations, they're still going to take them to court. There's no way out of it for them anymore.
Dalton, apparently they're getting the attention of the FBI. Federal agents were seen entering Village Hall today in what the Bureau calls a court-ordered law enforcement activity. NBC5's Natalie Martinez live tonight in Dalton talking to village trustees about this surprise search. Natalie?
Stefan, those trustees say their cries have been answered, and now they're asking for a new administration. What exactly brought the FBI to Dalton Village Hall Friday is not clear, but trustees we spoke to clearly feel relief.
The sun is shining today, and this is a good...
Yeah, it's not clear because there are a plethora of charges that most any federal agency might want to have an interest in.
Day for the residents of Dalton.
For the last 3 years, myself, the board members, and the residents have been feeling like no one was coming to save us.
My phone just went ballistic. Calls, and calls. They said that the FBI is at Village Hall. I'm like, oh my God. Someone has finally answered our cry.
That someone is the Federal Bureau of Investigation. A spokesperson says in a statement that the FBI was conducting court-authorized law enforcement activity in that area today. Department of Justice policy prevents the FBI from commenting on the nature of any investigation that may be occurring.
2 subpoenas was dispersed today.
I'm sure it's connected to what we've been talking about lately, how tax dollars.
So 2 subpoenas. So they're probably looking at the city hall records and the registrar's records. Because again, those financial things are done by bonds through the county registrar. They have to be registered.
Are being spent recklessly.
Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard and trustee Andrew Holmes are the focus of a civil lawsuit. It accuses Holmes of assault and Henyard of retaliation, stemming from incidents involving an economic development trip to Las Vegas last May. This week, village administrator Keith Freeman was charged in federal court with bankruptcy fraud. Chicago's former mayor and former federal prosecutor Lori Lightfoot has been hired to lead an independent investigation into the Vegas trip and more.
We are the gatekeepers of the funds that come into this village. And we're not being allowed to see what's...
See, they admit they're the gatekeepers, right? So what is a gatekeeper then? I think they've taken their authority beyond the scope of what a gatekeeper is. They are not the gatekeeper. The people are the gatekeeper, and the people have left the gate. They've left it wide open for heathens to come in and take everything they want and profess that they're the gatekeepers. They're not.
What's going on with our tax dollars?
So we reached out to the village and to the mayor for comment late tonight. Earlier tonight, though, we did get an email statement, and it said very clearly there was no FBI raid at Village Hall. No further comment at this time. We are live in Dalton. Natalie Martinez, NBC5 News.
Okay, we'll be following all of the developments there in Dalton. Natalie, thank you so much.
Now
Clearly no FBI raid. That's not what the video showed. The video showed that FBI went into their city hall, closed everybody's shop down, said, go on, get out, we're going to get records.
to the legal troubles in Dalton. They are piling up for officials there. Today, a top aide appeared in federal court on bankruptcy fraud charges, and the village also faces another lawsuit. Our Regina Waldrop takes a look at both cases.
Sending gift cards in bulk can be a nightmare. But what if it could be tremendous?
A top advisor to Dalton's mayor making his first appearance in federal court. Keith Freeman entered a not guilty plea to a scheme to commit bankruptcy fraud. The village administrator and manager of Thornton Township is accused of underreporting income from his jobs and from his private consulting business.
We're ready to defend with everything we have, anything that comes Mr. Freeman's way.
Freeman's attorney said,
private consultant business. Remember that consultant firm? That's one of those firms that operate. And that's that guy that gives all those data elements See, those public officials have to consult with somebody to get the information they need to run their scheme, and that's you, the individual, the people. You're acting in the capacity of a consultant, and the information you give them is firm, saying it's warranted. You're assuring them. If that's the case, then why do you need insurance?
Says he has no plans to step down from his positions. He also says this case has nothing to do with any other federal investigations.
We've had a couple of questions directed to me about whether or not this indictment means that the government is effectively trying to squeeze Mr. Freeman into cooperation.
And a few days after Freeman was indicted, the FBI served 2 subpoenas at Dalton Village Hall.
If you look at the subpoenas, they're very specific.
Renato Mariotti is a former federal prosecutor. We reached out to him to find out what he thought about the recent developments.
There appears to be an active federal investigation. It certainly looks like the feds have something. They're not just fishing.
Dalton's government is marred in accusations of misspending, lawsuits, and probes. Tuesday, Mayor Tiffany Henyard and Freeman were hit with another lawsuit. This one filed in federal court by business owner Tyrone Isom Jr.
I was really excited when I came across that property because I was just waiting to put my stamp on Dalton so I can help the youth.
Isom says he bought this property on Sibley Boulevard for $85,000. He says he remodeled it, first hoping to open a barbershop, then a tattoo shop. But he claims his applications for business licenses were denied with no explanations as to why.
He's finally told, nope, the mayor wants the property.
Unable to open a business at the location, Isom says he was forced to sell the property.
The mayor wants the property. That sounds like they're trying to use eminent domain. But in that, they have to have a requirement of why they're saying, no, we need the property. It's not a matter of want. We need. It's a requisite. And this is why. It's not just because the mayor wants the property. See, again, extrajudicial and extra jurisdictional. She's outside of her bounds and scope of duty and acting privately for private gain, and this is unjust enrichment at its greatest.
He's seeking compensatory damages plus attorney's fees. The village declined to comment on the lawsuit. As for Village Administrator Keith Freeman, he's expected back in court June 5th. At the Dirksen Federal Courthouse, I'm Regina Waldrop, NBC 5 News.
Our thanks to Regina.
Over at Thornton Township now, residents there, they are fed up and they want answers about how their tax dollars are being spent. Well, that was
And again, everybody's presuming that everybody's a resident. Be careful of that term. Resident, United States citizen. You better get to know what they mean and why it's so important. Because if you keep believing, you're going to get screwed. And like I said, don't believe me, don't believe the neighbor, don't believe the government. For crying out loud, don't believe your mother. Do your research so you know.
the message today at a rally in Calumet City. NBC 5's Regina Waldrop has more on the residents' concerns and the next steps.
What do we want? Our township back! They came from dozens of communities with one demand: more accountability and transparency into how their tax dollars are being used in Thornton Township.
We want people to know what's going on so we can try to stop it.
Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard also serves as supervisor of the township, which has a population of close to 158,000 people and covers 17 communities. The village's government is marred in accusations of misspending.
So just the mayor of Dalton and the township of 17 other communities. He's got two different jobs, makes lots of money on regular pay for both of them, and yet that's not enough. She's got to steal everything she can from everybody she can. This is one of the greatest heathens I've ever seen. Again, I do not know how she managed to stay in this position for over 3 years.
Lawsuits and probes. The township's also named in a lawsuit filed by Henyard's former assistant and a Dalton police officer who alleged abuse and retaliation.
She put us in this situation. The only way we're going to get out of it is that we dig our own selves out of it.
Mary Avant is a retired police officer who lives in Dalton. She's one of the organizers of this Take Back Our Township rally.
We're hoping to get positive momentum and connect with other people.
Ryan Snulsky is a longtime resident of Harvey.
So many of us, not only at the township level, but then at our individual municipal levels, are going through just lack of transparency. We don't know how any of our tax money is being spent.
Christopher Gonzalez is a Thornton Township trustee.
I have a lot of the same questions that people do, but even beyond that, I mean, we're all just citizens.
And organizers say this rally is not just a...
We're all just citizens. See, that's an inclusive citizen of what? Again, like dollar. Define citizen. There's a definition out there. There are many. What do they say? So what is the citizen that you are referencing? Because a United States citizen is referencing a business. And if you're not out there with a business and performing the functions of public office as that business under a United States corporation, then you're not one of those such citizens.
one-day affair. Next steps for them include asking people who attended the rally.
But Keith, we're using the social number, so doesn't that like tie us in? I mean, I know it does. It's not done correctly, but that's
right.
But, right.
Right, but that's the problem, because that Social Security number is merely referencing an underlying documentary evidence of your position in the trust versus the contracts. And that's what people don't understand. If you understand that the initial documentation was the creation of a trust, again, it created a bailment, a bond, and that bond has the intent of an express trust. It expresses the trust. Learn how to read what the trust is in those documents, and you can put yourself in those documents in the correct capacity as the third party benefactor, not as an official. You're not filling this documentation in any official manner other than to give them the true and correct data elements, assuring that you're a benefactor and they are obligated to you. Again, that's that 9th and 10th Amendment. If they don't understand that the powers that are delegated to the United States in the Constitution, nor prohibited to it by the Constitution, are therefore reserved to the states or the people respectively, then who has the true power of those delegations? Not the state nor the United States, because they were delegated to them through the Constitution by the people.
But the 10, people don't understand, was only created to protect states so they can
No.
just themselves into the departments they create.
That's where your separation of powers is. And again, if you don't understand the way it's constructed, the powers delegated to the United States, where did those powers come from? They came from the people.
Yeah, the governed. I mean, consent of the governed.
Correct.
States' rights are protected.
Brother, you're breaking up again. Gosh, you got a lot of great stuff to say, brother, but we just can't get it if you can't fix your audio.
Yeah, I couldn't hear it.
To sit and talk with us, give us a direction, because election time is coming. They'll be here then.
We reached out to the township for a statement on the rally, but didn't hear back. In Calumet City, I'm Regina Waldrop, NBC5 News.
Regina, thank you.
And this is why it's so important, folks,
this is the people's place
to understand that it's when we go through these hardships and actually pay attention to what's going on, that when people go to those voting booths, it's very imperative to understand why you're voting these people in. Again, everybody seems to think it's a goddamn popularity contest and not for their own protection. So they vote for the guy that's most popular in their mind, and not for what's true and correct.
Yeah. Like the guys with the VO5 in their hair, like Lyndon Johnson and Mitt Romney.
Yeah, they gotta pose that character trait of being successful in image. Well, I don't know, but the successful farmer doesn't dress up in a suit and tie. The guy that's actually tendering the land for its prosperity and abundance doesn't usually have to do anything with the bank if he knows what he's doing. So let's take a look at this next one as it relates to the people.
This is the people's place of business, sir.
We're from Communications and Media.
Hi, how are you? What's your name?
My name is Anna.
Anna, and your name?
And again, he said people's place of business. It is a place of business, but as people, we don't have to conduct business, but we can travel or sojourn at our pleasure and make a journal of our journey. Okay? And this is a matter of oversight of the people's business places where they have trustees running those businesses as a business of the people and keeping that oversight. And these guys are demanding us identification. You're required to carry identification so we know who you are. So we know that you're not an enemy.
Do you have ID?
Can I get your name?
Do you have ID?
Do I have ID?
ID, yeah.
Yeah, let me, and notice her posture as she's standing up 2 or 3 stairs up the thing. So she's standing over. Her legs are crossed, her arms are crossed. She's got a mask on. Look at her glance now. She's glancing over towards the officers that are standing down here on his left to get validation from them that she's qualified to even ask them for an ID when she's not.
I'm sure I do have ID.
Can I see it? From
No.
Your We the People ID?
No, I'm.
Your We the People ID. See how ignorant and arrogant these people are? Oh, I've got authority. Let me see your We the People ID. Why don't you ask me for my U.S. identification while you're posing a threat against a United States citizen while working for the United States?
I'm not going to give ID, no.
So can you leave?
No.
Why?
Because this is a public building, ma'am. I'm just here gathering content. I have freedom of press. I have a right to be here.
What do you want to record? But you need people's permission.
I have a right to be here, and that is so I can make a journey of my journals. And why do you have to record? Because I'm making a journal of my journeys. You want to be part of it? Keep running your fucking mouth, you ignorant cunt. Can't understand normal thinking. People in government servitude can't understand normal thinking. And let me remind you that cowards are cowards of words and righteous, dignified standing. They don't know anything about being righteous and dignified in their standing because they don't know the words. They're afraid to find out what they truly mean.
Get any type of statement.
That's not true.
If you want to record, if you really want to have something going on, you can submit.
I'm not harassing anybody.
Yeah, you are. If you're saying that.
See, they go to, you're harassing. No, I'm not. If I'm coming in to make sure that my employees are doing their job, how is that harassment? See, they've got it all backwards. They think they're the boss. They're not.
Feel harassed, it's a little bit different.
No, you have to have the intention, sir. I know the law. You have to have the intention to
Listen, you gonna
harass.
let me talk? You gonna let me talk?
I've been letting you guys talk the whole
I
time,
get
sir.
this. Understand me. Just understand it. I don't care if you're filming me. I don't care what you're doing, but you're gonna listen.
But you're going to listen. But you're going to listen. Oh, I'm going to listen, but you ain't? They have a basic obligation of public service, and that is knowledge. They have to have competencies of the knowledge it takes to fulfill their job. If they don't have that knowledge, then they damn well better fucking start listening.
Sir, please de-escalate a little bit. This is the people's place of business.
Greetings. We've got the people. How you doing tonight?
Doing well, brother. I'm just listening. Go ahead. I'm looking for a couple of documents that I wanted to share with you, because I sent some things to you, but I'm not sure whether you got them from that Keith Little email.
Yeah, use the Wyrd Warrior email. It's in the details section down below. That Keith Little email is an old Yahoo email. I probably got it in there, but I don't check it.
Okay, yeah, because that's what my first communication was with you on that. So look, I probably sent you a whole lot of stuff on there if you can still get in it. But okay, I'll do that.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, I've still got access to it. I just don't use it except for storage. And that's where I take my other email and move it over there because it's got an unlimited storage base.
Right. And peace to the panel and peace to the people in the chat. And yeah, man, man, the last few days I just been a little inundated with the grandbabies one day. I be wanting to jump on so bad, but just be bad timing and I don't want to, interrupt your flow. But I got a lot to add, and I don't know whether you pulled up that special maritime jurisdiction. Have you ever pulled up the exact document?
The public law on it? No.
This one is the secret of special maritime jurisdiction of the United States exposed, and it's a 31-page document. But brother, let me tell you, this document in itself, it breaks down all the criminality from the municipal corporation all the way down to child support and everything else in the Admiralty Maritime. It is a beautiful, beautiful document, and there was something in there. And that's what my wife is working on, getting my laptop connected to the damn printer, because I have been trying to print this out for several times. But I'm kind of slow on the computer and sharing things. But go ahead with your presentation and let me do a couple of things, and I'll come back in.
All right, absolutely. Okay, so here we have undercover cops entrapping people, and this is the lengths they will go to try to generate even more income. And these are the schemes that run rampant throughout all cities across all nations around the world. It's corruption of
These
power.
two undercover cops were entrapping Uber drivers on the side of the road. They were paying the drivers in cash, which was against local laws, and booking them.
Yeah, you again, that cash, those Federal Reserve notes are for Federal Reserve transfer agents as advances from Federal Reserve institutions to Federal Reserve banks, and for no other purpose are allowed. And that's for payment of taxes, insurance, and other public dues. They're public dues. So why are you passing them on to private people?
Them if they accepted. But this guy just had enough of them, so he took matters into his own hands.
And these two people are the two individuals that entrapped me right here, and they're trying to do it right now. They're trying to get every other Uber driver. Look at them, waving people down. The woman said that she didn't have a phone, so they're trying to catch all kinds of people. Watch this. Hey, brother, those people are undercover cops. I just got a citation for this. Oh, really? Yeah, they trapped me. Yep, good job.
Bye-bye.
I'll see y'all in court. Oh, I thought your phone was dead. Oh, your phone ain't dead no more, huh? I took nothing.
See, they're allowed to act and perform in the functions of criminals while in their performance of the function of public office. What the fuck makes sense about that, people? You better fucking wake up. These are heathens. They do it on purpose. And they do it because you're not thinking. You're not protecting yourself. You're depending on them to protect you. And here they're the ones that you need to protect yourself from. And you don't understand that yet. How long does it have to go on? How long is it like people like myself have to scream about this stuff and point it out to you while you call us insane?
Hello?
So, again, am I here?
I can hear you.
Okay, it said my browser lost connection. Evidently, I dropped out for a bit. Did we lose anything in that? Did people get that video?
No, you was down for about 20 seconds, though.
Okay, let's run that video again then. Because it's important, again, like I said, it's a matter of learning how to protect yourself in various different ways. And when we come upon this insane public community, rather than calling the police, sometimes there are measures that we can take to avoid even having an interaction with them and still push that foot of knowledge on these the throats of these people that are being insane, these Karens and Kens. Let them know that people do have a way to defend themselves. We do not have to call the police. And if you want to confront us in these automobiles like this, there are other methods that we can use to take care of it and be done, you know. And again, it's a matter of knowing how to do so and being preemptive and knowing your limitations. For crying out loud, I am not telling you to run around with weapons, guns. I am not saying that. I'm saying as creators, we need to learn how to be more intuitive and instinctual in what we can use to defend ourselves. And that includes the words as well as simple things in our life that we can put forth that are not dangerous, that do not kill.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I truly I can't hear anything.
You're not hearing anything?
Video not playing.
Let me reload, guys. Be right back.
Take your time, brother. You got this. We got this. How you doing, John?
Okay, I am back, and let's pull her up again. That one was Road Rager.
This guy got out of his car in traffic to pick a fight when he got pepper sprayed. It all began at the previous traffic lights when the SUV driver attempted.
You can hear that?
Yep, we can hear that.
All right, thank you, brother.
Attempted to turn left and pass the cam driver even though he turned from the right lane. Once they reached the traffic lights down the road, the SUV driver first stopped to the side of the cam driver's car to speak to him, and then he drove in front of him to block his path. He quickly exited his vehicle and approached the driver's side door. From this point on, another car down the road captured the incident from a better perspective. The man kicked the window and the driver opened it and proceeded to pepper spray him. Just like that, the furious man lost all his will to fight. Are you buying a pepper spray after seeing this? This guy got out of his car in traffic to pick a fight.
So we see there are ways to implement other devices and things in our lives, like I said, not dangerous, but yet very compelling. So be prepared, be preemptive, preventative, and start doing your research now so you can learn now how to protect yourself and
They're
not
messing with your mic now.
really. Damn it.
We can hear you right this second, but they buffering you.
Yeah. Tribe says on Florida they would have been sprayed with lead.
But yeah, I carry that shit all the time, and I be getting them from the mailman. You know, they use them for the dogs and shit. I'm sorry about the language, but they get them from, you know, for the, you know, attack dogs that be out loose.
Yep. Yeah. It's amazing the tactics they have at their hand, and yet people don't pick up on that. I love dogs. I love dogs, and I will go anywhere with my dog.
Yep, and
My dog is a visual thing that says, "Hey."
Yeah, and dogs don't usually bark at you if they don't sense. No, they can. That's one of the things about that animal is that it can sense, you know, bad energy from, you know, anything, you know, and so when your dog is barking, you better pay attention.
Oh yeah, and you got to be understanding of the character of your dog too. My dog, for instance, I don't take him out in public too much where there's other people and stuff. So it's just me and him, and otherwise he's out here by the side door. And in that, there's other people that walk around and dogs and stuff. And so he sees another dog, and he starts going at the end of his lead barking. He sees other people. He knows people are generally, you know, sociable beings, and he just wants them to come over and pay attention. So he barks. He's communicating. That's all he's doing. He's not barking to be aggressive or anything.
Right.
So,
right. That's the only reason why I got this little man, because he's just a little shit talker, and he let me know he watched it back. He want to be the man up in here though. That's my only issue with this little ass.
Yeah, and see that's why it's important to understand the social structure of dogs and other animals. If you're going to have them in your life, you have to be dominant in all of those structures, and you have to know how to treat them differently. So if you have a bird, a cat, a mouse, and a dog, which I've had, you have to let them all know you're the boss, and it doesn't matter what their social structure is. They all better get along, otherwise the boss is going to get on them.
Yeah, yes, and I swear they just like children, and with proper instruction, he understand my language so well, because I don't talk dog language. I talk like real people talk to him, and
Yeah.
he understand my frequency. He understand if I say certain words, he gonna leave the room. He gonna be like, oh shit.
It's funny. You'll sometimes hear my dog in the background at the end of my videos because he's gotten used to hearing a certain phrase. You know me, I love you, but I don't give a rat. And all of a sudden, he's on it. He knows I'm at the end of the video and he wants my attention. He's going to come let me know. So
Yeah.
sometimes at the end of the video, you'll hear him smarting off, trying to get my attention. Say, Dad, I know you're done. Let's go play.
It's amazing.
So this here, yesterday we spoke about the dogmatic ideologies in the public education system and how we're surrounded them as children when we get when we're placed in those public education schools, and how that's the destruction of the family, but it's our own fault because we're sending our children to that instead of teaching them our own ideologies and morals. So this is a little video that I caught that I wanted to post because it has to do with, again, our knowledge, our freedom of speech, our freedom of expression, and how to explain that from our perspective as an objective truth and not as our own insane belief without a definition behind it.
Driven dictatorial left has strategically for decades in this country worked to take over every pillar of American culture and society.
And that's like we spoke yesterday on that ideological dogmatic system, is that it's these foreign countries that have this Marxist or socialist system that explained a long time ago that's their base foundation of taking over other nations or societies, is by indoctrinating the very people they're in through ideological institutions. And the more ideologies you can create that will cause a confusion and distraction, the greater advantage you have from them understanding their true ideologies.
On my live stream last week, we read the published 40 goals for the Communist Party from 60 years ago for how to
Exactly what they were talking about. And she's talking about it again today, and she recognizes it.
take over America. And it was things like taking over the church, taking over the education system, taking over the entertainment industry. And if you start thinking about it, the left has hijacked the education system. We see that easily on college campuses, but everywhere else too. They've taken over the entertainment industry. They've taken over the mainstream media. They've taken over published reports like this one, the judicial system, the political.
YouTube, StreamYard, things like that. Anywhere where there's a censorship, they've got their dirty little hands in it. This is why we have to understand the First Amendment for what it is.
System in America. The left, the authoritarian, censorship-driven, dictatorial left, has strategically, for decades in this country, worked to take over every pillar of American culture and society. On my live stream last week, we read the published 40 goals for the Communist Party from 60 years ago for how to take over America. And it was things like taking over the church, taking over the education system, taking over the entertainment industry. And if you
And like she said, it's published. It's published. It's out there. They're telling you what their intent is. And if you think the leaders of this country don't know it, you're wrong. They know it, and they're using that very same dogmatic set of ideologies to use against you for their unjust enrichment.
If you start thinking about it, the left has hijacked the education system. We see that easily on college campuses, but everywhere else too. They've taken over the entertainment industry. They've taken over the mainstream media. They've taken over published.
It's those college campuses that she's talking about, and she's absolutely true, because that's where we get all these people in the fields of being eagles. You know, if you want to learn how to fly like an eagle, why do you hang with that flock of turkeys? It's a popularity contest of being successful, whether you're a politician, a lawyer, a judge, a banker, an accountant, a movie star, a singer, no matter what it is. Seems like those kind of things you need to go to college for. Some kind of liberal arts college, or some kind of master's, bachelorate, or something like that in accounting or speaking or politics or business, anything to do with this dogmatic ideal of commerce, you have to go to college for. You're not educated enough to do that at high school.
Reports like this one, the judicial.
Nor are you taught how to protect the estate. And that's the problem. Every last one of their commercial entities operates on the estate. The contracts emanating from the assets of the estate, but it's supposed to be done in trust. And that's the part they fail to realize.
Judicial system, the political system in America, the left, the authoritarian, censorship-driven.
What do you guys think? I guess Rebel's the only one left. Okay, well, we'll continue on then. Because the next one has to do with the very wealth and knowledge. So we're going to start this one over, and in the meantime, let me put something else up on my background here, because it says, I was once asked, you're a smart man, why aren't you rich? I replied, you're a rich man, why aren't you smart? Jacques Fresco.
Richer than me. They make me look homeless. I wouldn't trade places with them. For men, I believe there's buckets.
I don't know why it's not giving me my value.
They make me look homeless. I wouldn't trade places with them. For men, I believe there's buckets. There's a money bucket, there's style, swag, how interesting you are, networking, your fitness, intellect, and being intelligent, being able to have a conversation and connect with a person. You have to understand it takes a long time to develop all of these different attributes, but to think that they're going to have it all figured out at a super young age, it's just not true. It's absolutely a pipe dream. And they shouldn't beat themselves up about it. There are plenty of people that I know that are substantially richer than me. They make me look homeless. I wouldn't trade places with them. For men, I believe there's buckets. There's a money bucket, there's style, swag, how interesting you are, networking, your fitness, intellect, and being intelligent, being able to have a conversation and connect with a person. You have to understand it takes a long time to develop all of these different attributes, but to think that they're going to have it all figured out at a super young age, it's just not true. It's absolutely a pipe dream. And they shouldn't beat themselves up about it.
And they shouldn't beat themselves up about it, yet that's what we're doing. And we're doing it by not understanding those attributes and not seeking how to enhance those attributes in ourselves. But yet again, here we are, we're posing that these other people that have those attributes, we're going to vote for them. That's not fixing your situation. That's letting somebody else take over. And again, not once in history have any of them fixed your situation. Not once. The next one I have is Dana. And again, it's going to be one that's not going to let me get the very first part of it. I hate these shorts. Let me see if I can do it this way. Nope, it's still keeping the silence on. So let's just run this. And I'll just have to run it back and let you hear the first of it again.
fucking living is trying to silence Robert Kennedy Jr. He had Robert Kennedy Jr. on his show, and an advertiser called and told him, "You're not posting that podcast, take it down." It was Peloton. Barry McCarthy is the CEO of Peloton. Imagine that fucking dork calling you and telling you that you can't have Robert Kennedy. Who the fuck are you, Barry McCarthy? We're throwing the Pelotons in the garbage. We're throwing them out of the UFC gym.
Who the fuck are you, you piece of garbage? That's my attitude. Who the fuck are you to tell me what I can and can't do? Well, that's exactly the premise. These people think they hold some kind of commercial control and power over you, so they have no problem making threats or just blatantly telling you not to do it, thinking they have authority. They don't.
Company that sells stationary bikes for a fucking living is trying to silence Robert Kennedy Jr. He had Robert Kennedy.
So this company that sells stationary bikes for a living is in contract with Dana through his gyms because he buys their bikes, right? And they're saying that because of that contract, as a commercial element, they're going to take away their bikes if he airs that thing. They're using that as a control mechanism that he's already in a contract with them, and that somehow that's a threat against their contract. Sorry, you can't do that. You should have wrote that into the contract. Fuck you.
Jr. on his show, and an advertiser called and told him, "You're not posting that podcast, take it down." It was Peloton. Barry McCarthy is the CEO of Peloton. Imagine that fucking dork calling you and telling you that you can't have Robert Kennedy. Who the fuck are you, Barry McCarthy? We're throwing the Pelotons in the garbage. We're throwing them out of the UFC gym. A company.
What do you guys think about that? That's the way you should behave. That's the way you should be responding to these asinine people that think they have some kind of power and control over you, because they don't. They have zero power and control over you. That is a belief. And as long as you keep believing it, you will never know. And the last one I got.
They're going to force us to believe it.
Well, they can't. They can't. You're doing a great job. I mean, you're, like I said, you've said a lot of good things in the comment that I absolutely agree with. So I think a lot of us are on the same track, and it's a matter of getting the information out there. And as we see, at least I do anyway, we are coming together slow but sure. There are more of us today than there were 8 years ago, I assure you. Now, this is something in regards to, in order to know thyself and heal thyself, it takes that knowledge. One of the things of unlocking knowledge is the natural elements that we take in through our diet, like I explained with the cell salts. In order to keep your body healthy, you have to have particular things in your diet to keep that system working. When you keep that system working properly, it enhances the health of your mind as well. In that allows your mind to go beyond the limitations that we've been indoctrinated to believe through the knowledge we've been taught. It brings about that greater knowledge. Now, I've had a bit of experience with mushrooms in my past, and I believe this wholly. And this is something I'm interested in watching this Dune 2. So pay attention.
Blew me away. Have you seen Dune 2?
I have not. I heard it's awesome.
Amazing. Frank Herbert was a friend of mine who wrote Dune. And Frank Herbert came to visit me. And Frank told me he was growing chanterelles in Christmas trees that were just 5 years old. I go, that's impossible. I said, how are you doing that? And he goes, well, I take chanterelles and I put them into water and I pour it to the base of the trees and it comes up. So there's the blue juice. And so if you take psilocybe cubensis or any psilocybin mushroom that's potent, you put it into water, you create blue juice. And this is in Dune 2 where they drink it. And so I asked Frank, the eyes are blue. The Ben Gesserit are these shamanic women who have this high ascended cult. Is it based on Maria Sabina? I said, and maggots grow through mushrooms. And I said, everything, the spice seems like it's spores and your blue eyes and this blue juice. And he goes, you're the first person that's noticed this. This is something that blew me away.
So again, we go to the element of going back to nature to achieve greater knowledge. The seasons, we've got some mushrooms growing out in our yard. Now, I noticed they came up last year, so I was expecting them this year. And sure enough, we've got our rainy season. It's coming into 70-degree temperatures, and here we've got mushrooms coming up. And so I can expect various different varieties of mushrooms to start popping so I can go out and start harvesting them. This is springtime. There are different, see, everybody thinks that the harvest season is at the end of the, towards fall. We have harvests throughout the year. It's a matter of what you're harvesting, where, and according to the climate and what it produces. It's already there, and it's in a prolific abundance. Their commercial system puts limitations on that. Why are we allowing that? Because we don't know the truth of going to our natural instincts and intuitiveness to do those things for ourselves. And with that, we're on our way out. What do you guys got?
I'm gonna have myself together. Come later on if you do your 10 o'clock show, and I'm gonna be more prepared so that I can share this. And did you get? I tried to text in the chat and then I kicked myself out. Were you able to read that?
Yeah, look up. It's here in the chat. It's The Secret of Special Maritime Jurisdiction of the United States Exposed PDF.
Yes.
Let me pull it up.
Man, that right there, Keith. If you could do a whole show on that right there, and John and them would eat it up, because this right here is what we all need to be in possession of. I mean, it's the most basic non-legalese. It's mostly non-legalese document that I think even the slowest motherfucker on the bus could follow.
This is from Fam Guardian. Okay.
Yeah, and it is so powerful, man. Very powerful. And
Okay.
I've read it several times, but it breaks down the different sections. If you scroll through, you'll see the titles of what they're expressing or whatever. But there was this one particular. That's why I was being quiet, because I was looking for this damn word in here. Because you got to look this up, because I started breaking it down, looking up a certain word in the document. And when I looked this up, and I don't know why I can't. I got it right here in front of me, but I'm trying to find that particular phrase. But obsolete. It's called obsolete person or some shit. Obsolete. But man, it breaks the whole thing down about the decedent and how I think it might be in this one where it says how they do it. But it's 36 pages. That's short for me, but it is so good you can't stop reading it. Once you start reading it, you can't lose. I send it out to all my sons and all the little brothers that I know, even some of the sisters that I know. Eric, you don't know who might read it, you know what I'm saying? But I just share it with people.
Yep. Like I said, it comes from Fam Guardian. He's got a lot of excellent information on his site. And again, I'm not saying believe him. Don't believe me. Don't believe the neighbor. Don't believe the government. For crying out loud, don't believe your mother. Do your research. So there's the link, both in the chat down below as well as on the screen for anybody who wants to take the time to write that out or punch it into your thing and look that up. Like I said, it's a 31-page document. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, it's just beautiful, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So what I'm seeing is Mike's fuck.
Yep, Mike is screwed up.
Yeah, Mike is screwed up.
Yeah, you really got to get that fixed, brother, because like I said, you got excellent stuff, but we just can't put it together here. All right, with that, guys, we are out. And you know me, I love you, but I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back. And that's say I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you don't respect me. That's on you. So may God bless you, and we'll see you tonight at 9. Bye now.
Bro.